And let me tell you why. Because Timothee Chalamet wears me like a pinky ring. Hiya! And welcome back to another Reading Wednesday. It's your girl, Sketchbooks and Bookbooks. My name is Logan. Channel name is Sketchbooks and Bookbooks, yeah. So we're just I'm gonna do a September wrap up, I guess, because it's about that time to do that, I suppose. And I did not plan to be a bum and only have 2 videos for September and do like just basically a TBR and then a wrap up. I did not plan on being a bum, but bum activities were committed, so I apologize for that, but here we go. Here we are, back at it again with another video. 3 weeks late, but you know what? Life is rough. So anyway, let's get into it. So I'm just gonna talk about the TBR and then the books I actually was able to read. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. The first thing on my TBR from last time was Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I actually did finish that. I did finish it, mostly because I was just like, it was awful. I hated it. I gave it 1 star. Would not recommend it to anybody, ever. It's the most basic thriller to me. I didn't understand, to the point where I'm like, how did she write that? And it's so long. It's like 500 plus pages. And I'm just like, but it was the most basic by the book thriller. You know, it's like, it could be in the course of like how to write a thriller, you know, like it's there. It didn't do anything new, didn't do anything different. I'm just amazed that she had the motivation to finish that and then get it published. And then not only that, but the publishing house, they were like, oh, this is genius, this is new, this is, art. I've seen I've seen friends on Goodreads be like, oh yeah, that was stunning, it was amazing, and that's really why I read it, right? And then it was just awful. I saw a review too that said every character is the same, and boy, once I saw that, I was like, wow, I can't get away from that, because it was so true. Every character had the same wit and the same humor, and they said the same things. Everyone talked exactly the same. It's just like, it was just mouthpieces for the author. With different names, you know? It was very disappointing. Very, very, very disappointing. Part of me was like, should I read my review for it, or I might do that. I'm gonna read the review. My cat is eating her food as well, so if you hear that, I'm sorry, but homegirl gotta eat. So anyway, let's see, my review. How much was this? Okay, so 1 star, right? I'm not sure I enjoyed reading this. Early on, I saw a review saying every character is the same, and unfortunately my experience was ruined because of how true I found that statement to be. All the characters speak exactly the same, they just have different names. None of the characters are likable, and I thought the ending was beyond underwhelming for everything I read. I only skimmed near the end, and when the main character breaks into the peak, so I skimmed like 2 times, really. But the only way I'd say this was a good book is if it was satire and Pessl revealed she was making fun of boring white male authors and how they write, because she wrote just like them. Scott McGrath is boring, divorced, but still in love with his ex-wife and has 1 daughter. Pessl has him describe fat people in a way that bothered me, as if them being fat is inherently funny, or her description was supposed to be amusing when it wasn't. This book is so boring and long, I am in awe that Pessl had the motivation to write it at all, just adding a title to the endless list of by-the-book thrillers. P.S. I'd like to come back and add that the story is obviously from an ignorant white person. The ignorance is what stands out, the whiteness can be inferred, because in this all-white cast of characters, the only representation of other races are stereotypes that Pessl describes insultingly. A Japanese doorman gets called the last samurai by Scott, as if that's at all funny. A black taxi driver with gold teeth blatantly overcharges them by driving around, and I'm sure there's more, it's just I can't remember them or really anything more from this awful book. So yeah, it was a very stupid, ignorant read to me, for sure. I added that because I was reading other reviews, and someone was talking about the representation of people of color. We're all just stereotypes, and that's so very, very true. It was very true. I was like, dang, and especially that last samurai bit, the main character really goes in on this Japanese this dude who works at the hotel, and just because he's Japanese, he's talking about, oh, he's stoic and silent, and he's the last samurai, and just making fun of him in a way, just because because he's a quiet Japanese guy. And also, let me tell you, I'm like, there is no way you knew he was Japanese. There ain't no way. There ain't no way. There's maybe a white man exists that can tell what type of what specific Asian person it is. You know, it's like, oh, that's a Japanese. But you're not just gonna look and be like, oh yeah, that's a Japanese. I don't believe it. This man is not smart enough for that. And he's not, he doesn't know that much. And then the fact but she wrote that whole scene, Marisha Pessel, whatever, she wrote that whole scene, and other people read it. It had teams, editors, everything, and that all let it slide. I'm like, what publishing house is this, actually? Because y'all ain't got much diversity in there, do you? Because how was that able to get through? Whatever. It was stupid. Night Film I did finish that book. It was dumb. It was stupid. Okay, and my second thing on my TBR was Severance by Ling Ma. I also finished that one. Good for me. So I gave that one 3 stars. I did like it. I almost gave it 4, I think, but I was like, you know what though? That ending kind of was disappointing. So let me read my review. I don't think I spoiled anything, but Severance by Ling Ma. I thought this would be a 3-star read for sure, and I changed it later on. But somewhere past the halfway mark, I think it really grew on me. I became endeared to Candace and the hot mess she is, and really appreciated the similarities between this fictional virus and the very real one the world is still fighting. I also think this is the best title in connection with the story, since Candace has to separate from her job and then the normalcy of life itself. Let's see. Life itself, and then I have a spoiler. Okay, yeah, I don't want to read this. So what did prevent me from rating this higher, however, is the last minute bomb Ma drops in the second to last chapter regarding the fever. I wish Ma would have been consistent with the fever and how it operates, so I wasn't left with any confusion. But yeah, there's this kind of a plot twist near the end that contradicts everything that we've been told about the fever up to that point, which is it's the end. So that really bothered me. I was just like, what the heck is that? And she never went into it either. She acted like that wasn't a thing that changed the game completely. But I'm like, it did though. That's because that's not what she was telling me, 100 pages ago. So what are we doing? That made me upset because I'm like, no one caught that. No one said that, that's kind of an inconsistency. You might want to tie that up or at least address that. The main character didn't even act like that was weird. What she learned about the fever, that was different from everything else she had thought was fact about it. So it's just, that bothered me. I was like, you know what? I can't give you 4 stars with that glaring plot hole me. So, okay, but I still liked it. I'd buy that book. I'd buy that. I'd like to own that book. I do like it. So yeah, it's good. And okay, so the next thing on my TBR was Notes from My Captivity by Kathy Parks. I DNF'd that. I put it back. I might go back and read it later, but she was just getting on my nerves and I didn't have the patience. And I was like, why suffer through this book when I have better books to read? Now tell me why I had that mentality for, Notes from My Captivity when every page was a struggle with Night Film. But I think I'm gonna make a scathing, a scathing rant review about Night Film, And at least be like, I read everything, so I'm justified in my opinion. But Notes from My Captivity, I put that back. I returned it to the library, unread. I might pick it up later again, I don't know. Because it's a nice premise, I suppose, but the main character is somewhat insufferable. I didn't like her, and I was kind of like, you can get kidnapped because you get on my nerves. You're really milking your daddy issues, and it bothers me a lot. As someone who also has daddy issues, I'm just like, You're doing a lot. You're doing a bit much here. You know how those people who like, they have one thing that makes them, who's like, oh yeah, I struggle in life. This is my trauma. This is mine. And they just make that like their core personality. I'm like, that's not how it should be. I understand, like you struggle, I get it, you know? But it's like if I was like, oh, I suffer from depression and anxiety, and then I just like base my whole personality around that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna go cry later. You know, like, nah. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Like, your life is more than, you know, what makes it hard. But that's the main character of Note to My Captivity gave me that vibe that she just really wanted to be on the struggle bus. Like, she was fighting for her right on the struggle bus. And I'm just like, okay, girl, we get it. Anyway, so, and then the next one, Simone Breaks All the Rules, was my next book on my TBR. I did read that. I'm like, when did I read that though? Is the question, because I kind of forgot. I think it's in September. Let me get back. I did finish that on September 5th, it looks like. I gave it 2 stars. It was okay for me. It was okay. I really like it. I'm not gonna regret reading it though, because I love that cover to death. I love that cover. The cover's in my heart. That cover is in my heart. Simone Breaks All the Rules. Perfection. That beautiful dark girl on the cover. Butterflies, pink. Loved it. Loved it. Art. Ooh. Ooh. I love it. I could die for it. Gosh. Anyway. So I will never regret reading that book because I added it to my digital shelf and I love that. I'd probably buy the book just so I can have that cover because I didn't really like the book. Like I gave it 2 stars because it really didn't hit for me. It wasn't hitting like it was supposed to. But yeah, so let me read my review because maybe I'm a little more concise there. So this was a bigger letdown than anticipated, but I struggled through the middle of this. Struggled. Okay, the beginning was great, and then so was the final, like, 3rd act, but everything in between was an uphill battle. I don't like the fact that we were going after the wrong guy for like 75% of this book. That really made me upset. And Rigaud's voice, is that how you say it? Rigaud's voice didn't make finishing this any easier. She constantly sounds like an adult in disguise trying to be a teenager with all the hip lingo she threw at you, which resulted in me not really relating to Simone at all or even rooting for her. I felt mostly indifferent. Definitely was an okay 2-star read, but a beautiful cover to add to my virtual Goodreads shelf. So, yeah. But yes, like I wish I had the book so I could like flip through it and find the parts where Rigaud's voice was just like, this is an adult in disguise. You know? I'm like, this is not a teenager. Because when those moments happen, it takes you out of the reading experience like so fast. Like you remember like, oh, this is a grown person writing a book, getting some money, you know? I'm not saying she writes just to get money, but that's what it puts you in, it takes you out of the story, is basically. So that kind of ruined my reading experience a lot, but just like, Simone would say things where I'm like, this sounds, no teenager talks like this. Like, it was not good for me. And then yeah, and also like with her going after the wrong guy for 75% of the book, like for, you know, at least 2/3 of the book, we're going after the wrong dude. And she's just telling herself she wants him, I guess, because maybe she's in her little rebellious stage. I don't know. She was like, oh yeah, Gavin's so cute. And I'm like, he really ain't though. He really ain't. And then Ben, who's the real person we're going after, she like kind of rushes their romance at the end there because you spent all this time with this scrub Gavin. He's not a scrub. He's not a scrub. But for us, he is scrub. We don't click like that. But we kept trying to make it click and it was not clicking and it made me mad. And then I'm like, Ben gets thrown by the wayside, even though he was cute from the get-go. He was cute from the get-go and I was low-key mad at Simone. I was like, how dare you? How dare you have this cute little black boy who's like respectful and stuff and listens to his parents and things, and you just gonna be like, nasty. You know, I was like, how dare you, Simone? How dare you? All these, whatever. But yeah, so I gave that 2 stars. It really was not my thing, but you know, like I said, I'm still glad I read it. I was gonna read that regardless. Okay, so the next book was We Keep the Dead Close, A Murder at Harvard and Over a Half Century of Silence by Becky Cooper. I'm still reading that one. I have not really made it that far actually because I don't think I've been reading a lot in September. I think I was on a hot streak when it started and then kind of got in a little depression and did not want to read. So it'd be like that. it be like that. I'm just, you know, you go with it, you go with the flow, and the flow was depressed. So that's what I was doing. I was sleeping a lot. I was sleeping. The closest you can get to death in life is just a good deep sleep, and that's what I was doing. I have no shame in saying that, you know? Anyway, but yeah, so, and then the next one was Angel of Greenwood. Haven't even started it. Haven't even started it. Haven't started it. Yeah, so moving on. Those Who Pray, started it. Not halfway, not a quarter through, just started it. So yeah, America on Fire, haven't even started it. I Killed Zoe Spanas, started it, not even a quarter way through. Okay, anyway, so that's all I have for my TBR. So I've only read, I've read like 3 books on there though. I read 3. That's all right. I read 3 from my TBR, and I picked up books that like, why did I not put Do You Dream of Terra 2 in my TBR? Because I definitely had that book. I read Do You Dream of Terra 2 by Temi. I hated that book. I gave it 1 star. It deserved 1 star. It deserves like a negative. I hated it. I hated it so much. And it was also just one of those books where it's like, I've had friends on Goodreads loved it, you know? And it's just like, dang. You know, it's so crazy. But that book also proves to me that you could write anything and like someone's gonna love it and someone's gonna hate it. That's just how it be. But anyway, so Do You Dream of Terra 2 is like these teenagers go to this planet that is exactly kind of like Earth, except it's older, but they call it, it's named Terra 2. And it's basically just them in space. It's like 12 Angry Men in Space or something, you know, I guess. Let me read my review. So this is the worst book I've read so far in the year of 2021, and I shudder at the thought of anything else upstaging it. This is so disappointing because I love the premise and the ideas Temi had for this book, but I think the execution was just abhorrent. Several reviews claim this book is a character study, but all of her characters never reach past the threshold of caricatures, and her depiction of depression I found disgustingly one-dimensional and surface level. There's 3 characters who suffer from it, and yet she mostly describes it as sadness, has one crying in the rain saying everything hurts, and never touches on the complexity of the mental illness. The portrayal of depression in this book really angers and offends me because it seems like she watered it down for no reason and spoke on something she knows nothing about. I've seen other people though say that they thought the representation of the depression was better than, she had like kind of an eating disorder there too, that I don't really, it was so brief. I feel like she like touched on that so briefly that I like kind of just forgot about it. But for the depression thing, we had to go through that 3 different times with 3 different characters. And it was just, I was like, why is it like this? I just didn't think it was done very well. But anyway, also if this was a character study, it should go without saying that each character should have an equal amount of chapters dedicated to their POV. Alright, Temi's bouncing around seemed so random I decided to keep track. Out of the 6 characters, Juno has 19 chapters, Jessie has 13, Astrid has 12, Poppy has 10, Elliot has 7, and Harry has 4. How does that make any sense? And it makes me so mad because if Temi identified with Juno the most, why not make her the main character of the cast? But we first hear from Jessie, so we're really made to believe that it's an ensemble when in actuality not all of the characters are equal. And Harry definitely deserved another chapter near the end regarding his decision, okay? It just didn't make sense. So Temi's characterization was all over the place and the pacing was awful. 2 characters confess their love for each other and then she doesn't mention their relationship for 71 pages. 71 pages! I'm talking literal, I love you, and then butterflies, and then 71 pages go by and it's like, that never happened. And I'm like, what? That literally broke my brain. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? At first I was even mad that they said I love you, okay, because I'm like, y'all literally met, it's been one. Okay, but anyway, and then they just forgot about it, and then the character's like, did you forget that you told me I love you? And it's like, no, I didn't forget, okay? And if that was the case, then you should have had the character worrying about that somewhere within those 71 pages. Like, oh, did he forget that he told me he loved me? Because I'm pretty sure that's something that someone would worry about. Anyway, there's too much wrong with this overly long and drawn out soap opera for me to properly dictate, but the rant review is coming because, shaking my head, this book has incited violence in my very soul. And I will, that is true. I stand by that. A rant review is coming because I do hate this book. This is a book I would use for kindling. But not even that, because I feel like that's just a waste of paper. I would love to actually put paper. I've done it before with my bathroom where you like put book pages on the walls. I did it with Gone with the Wind that was broken, and it was a really old copy of Gone with the Wind. That makes it sound like I could have gotten money from it, but I feel like I couldn't have, so, and I'm not going to think about that possibility. But anyway, I did that to my bathroom and I loved it. So that's how I would use book pages, you know? I wouldn't just burn them, because that just seems wasteful. But like, yeah, I would use this maybe for wallpaper. That book for wallpaper. I didn't like it. Didn't like it. Okay, moving on. What other book did I read? This was so unexpected. Bones and All. I read Bones and All by is it Camille? I read Bones and All by Camille deangelis. And let me tell you why. Because Timothee Chalamet wears me like a pinky ring, okay? And I wish that was not true. I wish it was not a true statement. I wish, you know, I could be freed from the chains, but I can't. I really love Timothee Chalamet, and it's really embarrassing because I used to hate him. And then I saw Beautiful Boy and like The King, and I just fell in love with his talent and then everything else after that. So I'm really down bad. And feel free to, anyone can roast me for that because I deserve it. I wish I could be roasted into shame and then recovery, you know, and be like, oh yeah, I survived. I moved past that. I no longer like him, you know? But I do. So I read Bones and All, which is like the book that his, like a movie coming out next year is based on. It is like that cannibal love story that was going around at the same time when Armie Hammer was revealed to try to be the cannibal. Consensually. I don't know how, I mean, consensual cannibalism? That's in this book actually, so that's what the difference is. That's the difference. The Bones and All. I read it in like 2 days. I don't know why. I think I was kind of like, why did I read that so quickly? Yeah, I literally read it in 2 days. I don't know why I was so involved in that, but I was. I think I was kind of like, this is not on my TBR, let me get it out the way. I was like, this is not on my TBR, I should just let me get this out the way. And so like the least amount of time, so I'm not really like wasting time, I guess. But anyway, so I read it. I gave that 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars, and it was 4, and then I kind of read other reviews and was like, you know what, they are kind of right though. And then I was also like, you know what, but is this book the same level of like quality and enjoyment that I had that with other books I've rated 4 stars? And the answer was no, and that made me mad, and so I made it 3. But anyway, here's my review for it. Dang, this got me in the end, I'm not gonna lie. I thought this would be nothing higher than a 3-star when I began, but I totally love that ending. I feel so wrong for liking this book on cannibal lovers, but it's very much in the vein of Teeth and Raw, both horror movies, both like, I mean, Teeth and Raw. I'm not getting into those. I'm sorry. You can just look it up. They're movies. But I'm not getting into those here. deangelis gave me more than I was expecting with this secret underbelly of cannibals that all eat people for different reasons, and the plot twist was great. I'm looking forward to the movie coming out with Timothee Chalamet, and know he's going to be a great lead, mostly because I think it's close to the character he played in Lady Bird. I don't think it's that different for him. I wouldn't be surprised. It's kind of like a return to that cool guy character he does, which is so funny because he's such a dork in real life. Like, he's really a dork. But he does that suave Casanova act so well because he's just a good actor. Oh, if he wasn't talented, I wouldn't give a crap about him, I swear. But he is so talented. I'm like, you really are kind of like the Leonardo DiCaprio of this generation. And it angers me greatly. Oh, anyway, I digress. But yeah, so I read that book, and then here's the thing though, with that book, like, someone said the main character had no personality, and I was like, you know what, low-key they right. Low-key they right about that. She really didn't have any personality. It was mostly her just doing things, just actions. Like, it never really any like observations, no reflections, no like inner thoughts really. It felt like all we knew is she ate people that she loved. She eats people that she loves. And she felt bad about that. She called it the bad thing. That's like the extent of her emotions though. And she was kind of like, missing her mom and stuff, but we really did not get to know that character as much as we should have, I felt. So yeah. Also, this book has one of like the ugliest covers I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, should I say that? I'm sorry, it's just my opinion. I'm not like, it's not like I make book covers for a living, so I don't have any say. I am an artist, but like, I just hated it. I hate that cover so much. The paperback is better, I think, than the hardcover, but whatever. Because it's true to the story. Because in the story, they say she wears all black, but then on the cover, she has this red jacket, and I'm like, I hate when they do that. I hate when they do that. When like, it's like so obvious in the book, and then the people who designed the cover just have never read the book, and I'm just like, y'all suck. y'all could do better. Y'all could do better on this. But anyway, so yeah, I read that. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something else. Oh yeah, so the person also, Timothee Chalamet, is starring with this other girl who I don't know her name. I'm gonna put her picture and then like, her name up there. But she's I think she's biracial. She's a biracial girl. And she is like playing the main character in this, okay? And then she also did Words on Bathroom Walls. And I'm like, y'all are kind of, I'm like, this is the second time she's done this, where she's taken a character who's originally white, I'm pretty sure, and then, but just portrayed it as herself. And I'm just like, okay, I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it. If y'all are letting it happen, then let it happen. If that's what you want to do, then do it. If that's what you want to do, I mean, if that's what you're trying to do, that's okay. Go ahead. I'll watch. I still have not read. Actually, I've never read Words on Bathroom Walls, and I didn't see the movie. I wanted to, but then I was like kind of turned off by the book, and then I just didn't really care about the movie. I might watch it though. Who knows? Just to see her and see how good she is. I hope her and Timothee have like wonderful chemistry. Hope it's, I'm probably gonna like the movie regardless, but yeah, and I hope it's not gore. I wonder if I don't think it will be gory. I'm like, would they? I don't know what, it's the dude who directed Call Me By Your Name, so I'm just like, I have no idea what he's gonna do with that. I have no idea. Anyway. But yeah, those are all, no it's not. The first book I read in September was actually a graphic novel called Be Prepared, by Vera Brosgol. I have no idea if I said that right. But it was so cute. I read it during my shift at the library when I still worked there. I read it in like just, one sitting. It was so cute. It was really cute. I love the art style. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that was like my first book of, September. And so like this month, I have read 6 books. 6 books I've read this month. Not bad for like what I was dealing with. I'm not angry about it. And so far this year, I've read 58 books, and I pledged 12 on Goodreads just because the reason I pledged 12 was the past few years on my reading challenge, I've pledged like 12 books and not finished it. I've not finished those challenges. So I'm gonna do 12 every year until I make up for all the years I didn't finish the reading challenge, and then I'll be good. But yeah, so I've read 58 books so far this year. Feeling pretty good about that. No audiobooks. So I've been reading every single one of these. Not that I'm looking down on audiobooks, but I'm just saying, like, I haven't read any audiobooks. It's not cheating. I don't think it's cheating. It's like it's still reading, so I don't know. But anyway, yeah, 6 books in September. Not a single 5-star. Well, actually, no. Well, only a 4-star for Be Prepared. But yeah, it was kind of a rough month. But yeah, that was my wrap up. Now it's time to get into the art.
Yeah, so this piece was pretty unplanned, but it's very personal and relates to how I spent September job hunting for like it was a week, but it felt like so long. It felt like purgatory after quitting from the library, which had a very low pay at the time. So I was just like kind of running around like a chicken with its head cut off. But of course, I put my head on the chicken, and my hair is green for money because that's what I was chasing. Trying to find a job, live in this capitalist world. Kind of looks like a drawing your child would bring home that you'd have to pin to the side of the fridge and not the front because it's too disturbing. So, yeah.
So thank you for watching another Reading Wednesday with your girl sketchbooks and bookbooks. Go read a book, have some thoughtsy-wotsies, and I'll catch you on the flip side. That was weird. Sorry. Bye!